Well, good afternoon, everyone. An extremely warm welcome on a lovely, sunny, chilly day.
Good afternoon. Introduction to Pooja has already been given. Celebrity nutritionist who's transformed a lot of people's bodies and fitness uh, through her diet plans, which are about eating, which are not about giving up eating. She's also been an author of best-selling books on diet, which encourage people to eat more. As she says, you need to eat more to lose more. And another new found favorite of Pooja has been uh, starting this habit of eating right at a very early age in school kids. And that is what we are going to be discussing with Pooja on. What is a diet? Why should you diet?
Well, I quite frankly hate the word diet. I don't think we have to go on a diet, and I don't absolutely like anyone saying that let's get on a diet, because a diet has somewhere a very negative connection to it, because it always means that I am on a deprivation of food diet. So I don't believe in diets. I believe in a lifestyle. And food is not something that needs to be done according to a nutritionist or according to a particular plan that you're currently following. Food in you is a relationship that starts the minute you're born and is going to continue till your last breath. And food in you is a very strong bond that is far stronger, far bigger, far more wholesome, far more meaningful than the word diet. Because I think diets are very little compared to the importance of food in our lives, which I don't think we give food. Okay.
And how did this then word become such an important part of being fit? How did the word diet creep in? It was pushed to such an extent that you were food shamed, that you eat this, you shouldn't eat this in order to look this.
I think, I think it all, I don't know, according to me, um, we were never really, we are never really tickled or instilled to first realize that food is that important that we should be studying it. And it's not only the job of a nutritionist to study it. Each and every one of us need to know about food and nutrition, because we are managing this magnificent human body, which each one of us have an equal share of, and managing that body isn't something that has to be done by a nutritionist, because that's a very crucial relationship that needs to be learned for every individual, because that's a lifestyle hack, right? It's just like survival in terms of you should know how to talk or walk or cycle or swim. Learning food should be that instinctively important, and which is what is my drive today, is to make children realize the importance of eating so that they never need people like me, and that their world's not ruled by a diet or a nutritionist, because food is inherently you. So I think it stems from the fact that we were never taught how important nutrition is, and then it comes from the fact that we all want to look good. So then, in order to look good, I'm ready to try any diet because it fits the tab, right? But in that bargain or in that journey, we never realized the true value of food, and we've not, and quite frankly, I think we've just absolutely stopped listening to ourselves. Our body gives us signs, but we don't recognize them.
Such as, what would be the signs which will make you alter your diet?
Such as gas, acidity, burping, hair fall, um, muscular cramps, knee pain, um, bad memory, good sleep, excess sleep, less sleep. These are all signs. But we don't listen. We listen far more to our cell phones. Okay, we distinguish the beep of a WhatsApp and an email, even when our phones are on silent, as perhaps now. But we stop listening to ourselves. We say, indigestion, ये तो सबको होती है, ये तो पंजाबी खाना है. Or hair fall, oh, ये तो Delhi का पानी है. So we blame things on the fact that that's normal. That's not normal. That's a beep and a ping and a ting that your body's trying to give you. But we really haven't studied the fact that this could be because my diet is not right, because I am not giving my body what my body needs. And if I give my body what it needs, I'm not going to have gas and acidity and insomnia or excessive sleep or low energy levels or tiredness or PMS or mood swings or anger. Those are all related to what you eat. You are what you eat in true form and essence. And the minute we understand that, we have heard that. We all have heard that. We may have even said it once or twice. Of course, I say it once every minute, but you actually become what you eat. Your cells are ever evolving. Every 28 days, all our skin, our entire skin cells are replaced. Every 5 months, our liver is completely turned from what it was to a brand new one. Our bones, about every 10 years, are completely changing from what they were 10 years ago. And how are they changing? What's their substrate? How do they become a brand new liver, a brand new set of bones? It's through the substrate that we put into our tummies. But are we giving that importance to food? We are literally becoming what we are eating.
And what should we eat?
Everything. Wholesome, good eating habits. Actually, I believe we just have to go back to our old Indian thali, which was the best, most sumptuous, most balanced, made at home with love. That's what we need to go back to. But what we've moved on to is doing convenience. Ready, packaged, quick fix, 2-minute foods, what we can carry, because who has the time? And really, how important is food? It should just taste good. It should be hygienic. And that should do the trick. It should give me the energy. खाने का वक्त किसके पास है? हमें इतनी सारी टू डू लिस्ट है ज़िंदगी में. उसमें खाना जब भूख लगी, जब मिला, खा लूँगा. But we don't realize that fuel that we put into ourselves is what we are going to become. And it's not 2, 10, 5, 10 years from today. Your mood, 30 minutes to 60 minutes after eating what you've eaten right now, will decide how you're feeling. Tired, energetic, angry, upset, happy, attentive, laterally thinking out of the box, multitasking. All of this depends on the fuel in your car. All of this depends on what's lying in your tummy right now. But who cares? Do we? We don't. We just eat because food is there. We eat because I'm upset, I'm entertaining, I'm lonely, I'm bored, I'm PMSing, laddu to khana hi padega. We eat for all the wrong reasons other than the fact that that is your fuel. And that is what we need to come back to. Need to realize that what food does to us and the magic of good food, and then just fall in love with the way we ate before, the way our ancestors ate. And we will eliminate the need of nutritionists and diets and doctors. Why are doctors in practice? Because all the beeps that our body is giving us, we're not listening. When that beep becomes an alarm, we run to the doctor. And the doctor has a pill for an ill. Not a solution to your problem, just a pill to take care of that ill. But if you really want to solve your diabetes or your blood pressure or your heart problem, the medication is not doing anything. It's your diet. Doctors will just say, lose weight kar lena, diabetes theek ho jayegi.
Coming to this, how many people approach you for a diet plan or a nutrition plan just to lose weight?
90%. 90% do it because they want to look good, not because they want to feel good. 90% of them actually come because they have a wedding in the family, or they have a reunion, or it's their birthday or their wedding, so they want to lose weight and they want to look good. And that's what I always make them realize.
That's the next thing I want to come to. Look good, feel good versus being actually fit.
That's the answer. That's not the question, that's the answer. You have to ask yourself, do you want to look fit or do you want to be fit? Looking fit, shortcut भी चलेगा. ये शादी है, ये event है, I have to look fit. I should fit into my शादी का साड़ी blouse, I should wear my same blazer, button बंद होना चाहिए. So let's look fit. So to look fit, I'm ready to take shortcuts, right? Someone said, follow this diet for 10 days, you'll lose 10 kilos. कर लेते हैं? Versus saying, be fit. Be fit is for tomorrow. Look fit is for aaj. Shortcut. And we're ready to try any shortcut with our body, huh? Let me ask you if you were ready to try a shortcut with something else which is as precious. For example, we are all holding these lovely mobile phones, smartphones in our hands. I got a new forward straight from Apple. They said, put your iPhone 11 in a microwave at 160 megahertz for 10 seconds. For 10 days, you shall not need to charge your phone. How many of you would actually try it? Nobody. But then, here I am, celebrity nutritionist. I say, I know how to do a diet, 10 days, 10 kilos. How many of you would try it? Lots. Why? Body तो free की है. Look fit होना है. Be fit नहीं होना है. Body के साथ shortcuts try कर लेंगे. Success हुआ तो great, नहीं तो फिर कल देखा जाएगा. Mobile वो तो खराब हो जाएगा यार. 1 लाख रुपए दिए हैं उसके लिए. Body तो free की है. 40 के बाद एक नई body मिलने वाली है. Fit and fine. That's the difference between look fit and be fit.
And
Don't go for the short term.
And how advisable it is that you've now educating kids to follow a diet? I mean, should you not?
It's not a diet. We're not teaching kids how to follow a diet. We're teaching them how food is you. Food equals mood, food equals health, food equals height, food equals stamina, food equals good memory, food equals no disease, food equals good immunity. And what food equals that? Teach it to a child. Why should nutrition be a subject in college? We all have human bodies. We all have families. We all have children. We should all know food and nutrition. That's the most basic survival skill that we should be taught. How to manage this human body. We learn maths and we learn science and we learn history and we learn geography, but learn the human body first. How should you take care of yourself by yourself? Why should there be need of doctors and nutritionists? This is the human body. All of us should know how to learn it, how to feed it. And what is the one thing that we actually knowingly put into our body? What do we put into our body? Even the air we breathe is not in our control, right? Whatever the AQI is saying, we're still where we are. So the one thing that we can control is this action. This should be taught to us. And we should do this with thought. The minute you do this with thought, your life is yours. Who's the boss then? You. Because your health is in your hands. Otherwise, the health is in the health industry's hands, who's making millions and billions out of us. First, they feed us with 100 forms of restaurants and apps and making food easier and easier and easily accessible. And then there are doctors and hospitals and nurses and medicines.
And suddenly one would hear of diets, go on intermittent fasting, follow this diet, keto is good for you, completely give up milk from your life. We hear of various fads. It's almost like 6 months, there's a new diet.
6 months, every 6 days. I get quizzed when I'm sitting across a table. Someone asked me one question, I can't remember now, but they asked me these funny diet names almost every other day. They're like, Pooja, what do you think about the banana and apple? No, egg and, it was egg and, what do you think about the apple and the egg diet? I was like, oh, what's that? So I had to Google it to find out what's an apple and an egg diet. So every single day there's a new diet that comes up. Why? Why do these diets come up? Because no one really has the real knowledge about खाना. बस सबको बुद्धू बनाने का कोई ना एक तरीका मिल जाता है. 2-3 सक्सेसफुल स्टोरीज आ जाती हैं, 2-3 सक्सेसफुल केसेस आ जाते हैं, एक सेलिब्रिटी उसको इंडोर्स कर देती है, and there starts a new trend. And to lose weight, we are ready to try anything. So everything becomes the new fad, the new hot diet. And if you're different, people want to listen to you. So when they come to me, I don't tell them anything different. I don't give you any new gizmo, any new trick. I tell you, eat everything. Eat your roti, eat your dal, eat your chawal, eat your sabzi, eat everything. And they say, really? That's the diet you're going to give us? Nothing new? Khana aise mat khao, aise khao bolungi to maybe they'll believe me. Then I'll be cool, then I'll be different. I'll say, sunset ke pehle khana aise khaya jata hai, sunset ke baad khana aise khaoge to mote nahi hoge. To sab sunenge. Then puja becomes different. But now puja to talks, ye to sabko pata hai. Who doesn't know how to lose weight? If I need to lose weight, don't eat sweet and fried, and if eat more fruits and vegetables, don't eat out, eat at home. Sabko pata hai. And that's exactly what I say. I'm not giving you any new knowledge, nothing new, no trick up my sleeve. Go back to eating the way the human body needs to be fed. Any book on human physiology will tell you you need proteins, you need carbs, you need vitamins, you need everything in a balanced diet. But who wants to listen to that? That's boring. Tell me something new.
As a nutritionist, what is a daily diet? Eat heaviest breakfast or eat 6 times a day?
So, of course, there are lots of schools and lots of philosophies on that. My idea is your body runs 24/7. So you can, and your fuel is your food. So you can't say, I'm going to eat before sunrise, after sunset, I'll eat only every 6 hours. Your body needs food constantly. And if you eat the right amount of food at the right time, you will end up avoiding the wrong food at the wrong time. We don't eat food because I'm a nutritionist and you're not. We eat food because we are human. If we don't eat, we will go into hypoglycemia, we'll go into coma, and we'll die. None of us want to do that. So most people will say, I have very poor willpower, very low motivation. It's not low willpower or motivation, it's just that your blood sugar levels are low. You haven't eaten for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. And after a 6-hour low blood sugar level, nobody dreams of a kakdi or an apple or a tomato. At that point in time, we want a bag of chips or chocolate or chakli or something that is salty, high sugar, high fat, so that my blood sugar levels can come up. So I'm not a foodie or a Punjabi or a Delhiite or all those things, all those adjectives that we give ourselves. We are human, and eating is our survival of instinct. Eat right, you'll automatically be able to say no to the wrong food. You deprive yourself, stay hungry, you're not going to want to eat the right food. Then you want the tasty food that tickles you here, not that nurtures you here. So my trick is eat within the first hour of rising. As soon as you open your eyes, jumpstart your metabolism. Never start your day with caffeine. And then eat every 2 hours. Your breakfast is your biggest meal because the time gap between breakfast and going back to bed is the longest. Your lunch is smaller, your dinner is smallest. Only because, not because the sun is up or down, huh guys? It's only because my activity patterns also follow a similar gradient. I'm most active and then the activity wanes till I get into bed. It follows science of action, not day or night. So if I'm working night shifts, my dinner will be the biggest and my breakfast will be smaller and my lunch will be smallest. Right? So it follows the pattern of how active I am, and when I'm active, so gaadi jitni chalegi utna petrol dalna hai. It's as simple as that. So that's my philosophy, and you have to eat right so that you say no to the wrong food. If you eat every 2 hours, your blood sugar levels are balanced. There are no lows and then there are no highs. When there are lows, A, you may pick up something wrong, and B, you can never eat small. If you haven't eaten for 6 hours, you can't eat one fruit and be satisfied. Then you want to eat more. And then once I eat more, I feel so guilty that now I'll skip dinner, yaar. Itna kha liya. Ab main kuch nahi khati hu. Ek salad और soup खा के सो जाती हूँ because मैंने इतना बड़ा evening का नाश्ता कर लिया. So that's where we do it wrong. So if you eat right, you eat small, you eat often, you will always be on track and you will stay in control of your hunger, not your hunger being in control of you. Remember, when hunger takes over, all diet advice, puja's advice, healthy eating, motivation, willpower, everything goes down the drain. So don't let hunger take over. Before hunger takes over you, you eat. That's my philosophy.
Okay. Some of you would want to ask certain questions from Pooja.
Yes, please.
I just want to ask you, what is the difference between the benefits of having a non-vegetarian and vegetarian food?
Those are very, very individualistic. Okay, so yes, the new trend now is to go plant-based and give up animal food.
Uh-huh.
That's only because, like with everything else, a lot of commercialization has made animal food uh, farmed not as healthy.
Right.
But then if you think about it, so are vegetables farmed not so healthy.
Mm-hmm.
If they are fed hormones, maybe our vegetables are fed fertilizers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is not about the food. It's about like I said, we have never given food its true importance and value, that it should be so authentic, just like treating our body as a temple and food as something you put in a temple. So then you
Right.
wouldn't have disrespected it in the first place. But now, because we have over commercialized it and we have disrespected it, that is why our food doesn't have that that level. So being vegetarian or non-vegetarian is a very personal choice. No one thing is better than the other. The trend now is awakening is because a lot of people have actively told us how animals are being farmed, which is not so healthy, and I agree it is not,
No,
just like even our vegetables are not.
no, like you said, that the best thing we eat, in yesteryears was the Indian thali.
Hanji.
So that was generally, it was vegetarian thali. Uh,
Or non-vegetarian, but those were chickens that were maybe in our backyard that we only fed and we only caught and
Right,
we only
right.
ate. So
Uh-huh.
that was different. That's why see, the idea here is not one is better than the other. It's just the fact of commercialization that has made it not so good or not better than the
Right,
other.
right.
So that's the difference. But is one better than the other? That you have to please remember, darling, your body will tell you what is good for you. For example, my body has been brought up with non-veg protein. Taking it away, I have to first realize that can my body survive without that quality of protein? And is my immunity, my stamina, all of it fine? And once you take it away, your body will give you the sign. You might just feel very good, or sometimes you might just feel very bad, bogged down, tired, angry, hangry, irritable, hairs falling, immunity is low. तो आपकी body को वो protein चाहिए. But you feel good. You feel lighter, less gas, sleep better, more energetic, more agile. You look more alive. You feel more alive. And maybe it was not good for you. Give it away. So no doctor, no nutritionist knows your body better than you.
Exactly.
You know your body
Very correct.
best. Listen to your body. Come in tune with the food you eat and your mind. Your mind and body have to come into a sync. Listen to yourselves. Listen to the signs your body gives you, and you will not need doctors and nutritionists at all.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Hi. Hello. Hello, Pooja. I'm here. Here. Here.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. So, as a mental health practitioner, people often come and ask me, what are the foods that are particularly good for anxiety, depression? That is something which is like happening so much now. It's very unfortunate. And people have been told by nutritionists to have omega-3, which is considered to be very good for anxiety, or let's say vitamin B6 or 12. So would you be in a position to recommend some kind of foods which actually takes care of the kind of stress that we have in our day life, and especially the youngsters, somewhere around 20, 25, are particularly prone to a lot of anxiety and a stressful life and depression?
Yes, it is the new. It is the new. So we are the diabetes capital of the world, right? And anxiety and depression is the new awakening because we have so much stress and so much pressure to perform, right? And more and more and more and more functional practitioners are now going back to say your mind. So we always thought that our mind was the boss, right? Our mind told our body what to do. But today, it has been clinically proven that your gut is the boss. If your mind gives one sign, one signal, or sends one message to the gut, your gut sends 9 messages back to your brain. There are more neurons and neuron pathways and more serotonin and more neurotransmitters that are transmitted out of your gut versus your brain. So if you want to help mind disorders, you have to go back to what food you're putting into your body. How does your gut microflora work? Now that is the new emerging science. What makes you and I different? Why I can digest wheat and you can't? Why I can drink milk and you can't? Why I can eat a fruit and it doesn't give me bloating and gives you bloating is all the bacteria in our gut. And this bacteria is called your gut microflora. Your gut microflora are about 3 trillion bacteria or cells, which is not only bacteria, but 3 trillion organisms that live in our intestine that are making us unique and different. And it is this gut flora that is changing the chemical balance in our mind that is triggering us more towards anxiety, depression, causing Alzheimer's. And correcting your diet is even clinically proven to help children with autism. To such a great extent is the value of you are what you eat. So understanding this in terms of what works better for our gut, what is triggering our body, which is causing this chemical imbalance, which is affecting the mind, can help you correct the imbalance, which will automatically help you with the mind. So instead of antidepressants and Prozac, we have to go back to the food we are eating. I wish there was a one solution that I could give to this, but it is very, very clinical, very, very technical. Your blood levels have to be analyzed, your B12 levels have to be checked, your protein levels have to be checked, your uric acid or creatinine levels have to be checked, because all of these are giving us the parameters or indicators कि बंदे को कितना carb, कितना protein, कितना vitamins देना ज़रूरी है. But the idea here, and I'm very happy for the question, is that to help yourself even for problems that we are having in our mind, the solution is in your tummy. And if you learn that art and that magic, getting rid of something which is as mind-boggling and as draining. See, living a life with anxiety or depression is very draining. And the medication you take is just giving you symptomatic relief. It's not curing it. But what you're going to be able to help yourself and cure it with is the food you put into your tummy. So if we read up and understand the science, understand, there's so much knowledge. There's so much knowledge. We just have to be hungry enough to want to learn about food. We don't think that's the solution. We just think a pill is the solution. But your food is. And if we become aware patients, we won't need doctors.
Hi, Pooja.
Hi.
There's a time of day where it's okay to have caffeine, or if there's like a tier within coffee, tea, green tea, that's good, that's bad, that we could maybe have in the morning?
So why do we all love caffeine? Sure. So why do we all love caffeine? Because every time we are tired, it gives us a free boost of energy. And who doesn't want a free boost of energy? But I don't call caffeine a free boost of energy. I call it borrowed energy. So if I'm tired now at 1 o'clock and I have a cup of coffee and I'm all charged and my mind is awake, but I've only borrowed energy from 3 o'clock. As soon as I come to 3 o'clock, I'm tired again, and then I want another cup of caffeine if I want to work. So what I'm doing is, I'm not living in the present. I'm trying to borrow the energy from future. And why don't you have the energy in the present? Is because you're not eating. So my solution to reducing dependence on caffeine is to give your body the real fuel it needs. Eat and give your body the energy it needs every 2 hours. That automatically takes care of your sugar levels not going down. So feeling tired or less energetic is because my blood sugar levels are going down. And if my blood sugar levels are going down, I'm picking up the caffeine and that has the milk, and then we add the sugar to it to give us the energy. But we don't need that. We don't need that empty calories from the sugar. We need it from the food. Whatever you eat, whether it was a fruit or a khakra or a wrap or a sandwich or some dal chawal, whatever food we eat, whether it's proteins, carbs, or vitamins, whatever you eat is converted in your body to sugar. So why put the sugar in your tea to give you the energy and the caffeine where you can eat the food and your energy level stays balanced? That's my idea to reduce dependence on caffeine. Yes, coffee has maximum caffeine, tea has lesser, green tea has least. I would say do not rely more than 2 cups of caffeine in a day. Caffeine is only dehydrating you, causing more water retention, is making your bones weaker by leaching out a lot of calcium. It's an so it leaches the calcium out of our bones. And India is today facing a lot of problems with osteoporosis, and that's also because of our extreme dependence on caffeine. And caffeine is not only found in tea and coffee, but all our energy drinks and aerated waters, and the list is long. And then we have energy drinks, so that, oh, thak gayo, bacche thak gayo, energy drink pee lo aur jao football khelo. That's the kind of, even the trainers will tell you that, and the coaches will tell you that bacha thak gaya, usko energy drink pila do. So those are shortcuts. That is kachra that we are putting into our body. And if we realize that, we will reduce it. And amount of caffeine should be nothing more than 1 to 2 cups. The lesser you rely on dirty petrol and give your body quality food, you won't need it.
Yeah, hi Pooja, I'm here. I'm Lottie Alaric, I'm a media person. Now, as you said that we must read a lot about diet and the right kind of food and all that. So I've been doing all that for a very long time, trying to eat right and at really short intervals. Now, when I check my weight, the weighing scale doesn't really show me a lot of difference, but I do get a lot of inch loss. So am I on the right track or not?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay? If I told you that I have a bag of 10 kilos of books, at the end of 2 months, it still weighs 10 kilos, but it looks a little thinner from the from the bottom, is maybe because some of the books went up or some of the ऊपर के books went down. Net weight वो ही same है, तो हम वहीं के वहीं हैं. Why we sometimes see inch loss and not weight loss is because we zip up our mouths, we lose a little bit of muscle, then when we eat, so when we lose the muscle, we lose some weight. But then eventually we don't eat right because we've maybe zipped up our mouths for too long, and then we say, ठीक है, lunch skip करके एक chocolate खा लेती हूँ, but खाती हूँ जो मुझे अच्छा लगता है. My body stores that as fat. So weight wise हम वहीं के वहीं हैं. वो inch जो गया वहाँ से, क्योंकि वहाँ का muscle टूटा था, इसीलिए मुझे यहाँ से थोड़ा पतला लग रहा है. But weight वहीं का वहीं है क्योंकि खाना was not eaten right. So if you want to see forever weight loss, it has to come with weight or fat loss. And the only way you can get fat loss is when you eat. That is the reason why I say do not eat. When you don't eat, your body will always break down the easier source of fuel, which is your muscle. Muscles are very easy to break down. Extremely difficult to build, but extremely easy to break down. And fat, on the other hand, are very difficult to break down, but extremely easy to store. Okay? So every time you don't eat, your body will lose muscle. And every time you overeat, it will store it as fat. So यहाँ से पतले, but net weight वहीं की वहीं. So don't go for those. If you want a permanent solution, it has to be done with eating, so you lose fat. You lose fat, it goes on the scale, it goes on the inches, and it's gone forever. Because fat is your storing component. It makes your metabolic rate less. Muscle, on the other hand, is your burning component. The more the muscle, the more you burn. So you don't want to lose out on muscle.
Hi, Pooja.
Hi, Pooja.
Here I am.
Sorry,
Here.
where is the here?
Yeah, hi. According to Ayurveda, our body composition is made of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata is air, Pitta is heat, which helps in digestion, and Kapha is water, which cools down our body. So each and everyone has different body types. Someone has Vata only, Pitta only, Kapha only. Some had composition of Vata, Pitta. So I believe that diet should be according to your body type, and same diet should not be followed by each and everyone. So I just want to know your thoughts on that. And second thing is, I have seen that lots of youngsters nowadays is consuming whey proteins after workouts. So is that healthy or unhealthy?
So Ayurveda says Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. I say carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Okay, so it's just another way of saying the same thing. And every person is individual, and you are completely individual. That's why I said there's no one blanket good diet or a bad diet for anyone. Yes, Ayurveda believes that your body is made differently, and you have to eat differently. I'm not disrespecting that, but my science says that you have to listen to your body, and then you have to feed it balanced. So I'm not too aware of what they tell you not to eat in a pitta or cooling, but if you're drinking enough water, that's hydration, and if you're eating enough, that's enough nutrition. So both go hand in hand. So what is hot and what is cold, that affects your body. That could be according to Ayurveda, with no disrespect to it. But if you eat balanced and you're drinking ample amount of water and eating a nutritious diet, you can play around with it. Yes, for some people, too hot, heaty foods don't suit, maybe because they drink less water. And for some people, very cold foods don't suit. Maybe because their immunity is so low and their vitamin intake and protein intake is so poor, that's why ठंडा खाना पीने से खांसी सर्दी हो जाती है. So if you eat balanced, you'll automatically build up the immunity and be able to eat. So whichever way you look at it, yes, your body is uniquely you. Please eat according to the way you have to. And never eat from dabbas is my philosophy. So whey protein comes from a dabba. I don't believe in khana that comes from a dabba. Eat what is made by nature. You'll always stay healthy because you know exactly what you're eating. What is made in a box is made in a lab. And today, it may help you to build something. Tomorrow, it may damage something which you can't see. So it's a shortcut. You want to build muscle, so you drink protein shakes. And trainers give protein shakes even to overweight 50-year-old women. I don't know why. But yes, they think ज़्यादा protein पिएंगे तो ज़्यादा muscle बन जाएगा. Muscle बनता नहीं है. Muscle gym में जाके बनाना पड़ता है. सिर्फ protein shakes पीने से muscle नहीं बनते हैं. जो आपकी body use नहीं कर सकती है, your body will store even the excess protein as fat. Your body knows only one universal currency to store. Whether it came from an innocent fruit juice, or it came from a protein shake, or it came from extra dal chawal. Your body knows only one source to store, that is fat. So you have to know how much you need to eat, and you can get your proteins from your diet, you don't need it from a dabba, that's my belief.
Hi Pooja, I have a very small and simple question. There is a notion that we should not mix dairy products with fish because it can result into that white spots onto the body. So I just want to know, is it true or not?
According to science, it's not. But according to religious beliefs, it is. My point here is most of the fish that we make in Calcutta, for example, is always made with dahi, right? So mixing of dairy so technically, in terms of chemical composition of food, in a food interaction, it does not cause the amelia that you were talking about, right? It doesn't. But according to our religion and our beliefs, it does. So if you believe in it, don't eat it. And if your mother believes in it, see, I always believe that our ancestors had more knowledge than we have. Okay, they knew some kind of science that we are still learning. So there is no harm in listening to it. Don't mix the two. Have it after 6 hours. Agar lunch mein fish liya, to dinner mein dahi kha lo. But if you feel that, hello, I have been doing it for years, I cook my fish in dahi and it works just fine for me, well done then. There's no science there. That is our cultural, cultural hand-me-down kind of an advice given. But I don't disrespect it. My mom doesn't allow us to mix the two. But in my mother-in-law doesn't say no. So it's very different. So each house has their own rules. And yes, great. So in my mom's house, I don't eat it. But in my house now, I do. So it's different.
Hi, Pooja.
Pooja?
Now
Sorry.
Sir, let me ask my question, sir. I've waited for
just
last
one.
20 minutes.
I'm your next, my love, whoever that is. Yes,
Yeah,
Uncle.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Can you just ask?
you can go ahead and ask.
Yes. Because we've diluted. So the gentleman wants to know, why are we the diabetes capital of the world? That's because, yes, because it leads. Like one metabolic disorder invites the others. And diabetes is the mother of all trouble. When our blood sugar levels are not balanced, then automatically everything in our body is going haywire. Why are we the diabetes capital of the world? Is because we have diluted and moved away from our cultural thali, and we have moved to what the West has to give us. We have diluted how we ate, how much we ate. And yes, there is also, we are also genetically more inclined, because it's called the thrifty gene syndrome. Because back in the day, where we were poorer, our bodies were made to store. That's called the thrifty gene analogy. Our body was made to store in terms of when there will be deprivation. But today, we are not living in an age of deprivation. We are living in an age of surplus. So when the thrifty gene is overfed, is when we are getting metabolic disorders, and diabetes leads the game. So that's the theory and the science. But we are what we eat. So genetics may load the gun, okay? But the trigger is our diet. So my father is diabetic. Does that mean I have to become diabetic? No. I may be genetically predestined or inclined to be diabetic, but it's my diet, my exercise, what I'm putting into my body, how much stress I take, how I relieve the stress, that's going to make sure that I'm diabetic or not. So yes, we are the diabetes capital of the world, but we can change it. We can change it today. We can change it by changing the way we eat, we sleep, we exercise, and how much value we give to the food we eat. We don't eat just for the tongue, we eat to nurture. And we can change that.
Your question.
Right.
Perhaps packaged food.
Yeah. She's listening to him. एक मिनट मैं
I agree completely.
Your question.
Right.
Pooja-
So after the speech, I'll just ask my question. So, Pooja, recently there was this documentary called The Game Changers. I'm sure you've heard about it, seen it. And they were really propagating the benefits of being vegan or eating a plant-based diet. And, also breaking a lot of misconceptions and myths that, strong people eat meat but there's another aspect of it which they touched upon was the carbon footprint, the carbon impact, how meat is produced and how detrimental it is to the environment. So as a responsible citizen, not eating meat is not just doing good, but it also saving the environment. So there's that one aspect. Second is there is still a lot of confusion around meat. With eggs, should we eat the yolk? Should we only eat the white part? Is it okay to eat chicken and fish but avoid red meat? So coming straight from you, could you just talk about that a little bit?
So whether we are going to follow a plant-based diet or an animal, I just answered that lady as well. You have to realize what is good for you and what is not. You have to decide for that for yourself. Yes, when you're talking about the carbon footprint and what we're doing to the environment, in that case also, then give it up and give up your car and don't fly by a flight and take a train to Delhi perhaps, or back to Bombay. So we have lots of things we must do in our own right and our own way if we want to reduce the carbon footprint. That goes all along. So I'm not the best. That comes from your school of thought, what your body needs, and I don't think any nutritionist can decide that for you. Like I said, you have to learn. You give it up, see how you feel, and if you feel fabulous, stick with it. But if you don't, go back to it. You have to listen to yourself. And whether you should eat more a white meat versus red meat, correct. There's no rocket science here, right? It is red meat has more more fat than we need, and we have to have lesser of it. White meat has leaner, so yes, you can have a little more of it. Egg yolks have more cholesterol in it, so if you have one yolk a day is fine, but if you want to have 5 egg whites because you're bodybuilding, then you shouldn't be overloading your body with excess amount of fat. So do 1 yolk a day, and you could do more whites because they have the protein. So it depends on your body, but yes, egg whites have great quality protein, and there's absolutely no harm in having them. Yolks do have more fat, and we don't need excess, is my belief. Good fats are important, but not in excess. So if you are eating 1 whole egg a day, great, but if you're eating 4 whites, then stick to 1 yolk. There's no food that's good or bad. All foods are great, but you should just have the quantity modification that you need to have. That's all.
Pooja, can we have rice and roti together?
Why not, Auntie? Can I not take both my daughters out together? Should I only be taking one? Should I only love one and not the other? Both are carbs. Both are giving you energy. Carbs are your energy givers. Roti and rice, they both are energy givers. But if you say, Pooja, when I eat rotis, I eat 2 rotis. And when I eat rice, I may be having a bowl of rice. But if I want to eat together, then I'll eat 2 rotis and the rice. That's when I go wrong. So quantity of the carb is important to monitor. So if I'm eating 2 rotis usually for a meal, and I want to add rice, I'll skip 1 roti and I'll have 1 roti and rice. So my carb quantity remains the same, whether it came from 1 roti, 1 rice, 1 bread, or 1 roti, half rice, 1 half bread, it makes no difference. Mixing proteins makes no difference. Mixing carbs makes no difference. ये सब बुद्धू बनाने की चीज़ें हैं, जैसे आपको लगे मैं अलग हूँ तो आप मेरे पास आओ और मैं आपको डाइट दूँ. There is no such thing. Carbs are your energy givers. All of them give you the same amount of energy. but you shouldn't overload the energy. That's the idea.
Questions?
Can I
here?
speak, please? I am Mrs.
Yeah,
Ratra.
sure.
I must say that Pooja has presented everything too well, and it's very knowledgeable. I am also a nutritionist by profession, so I wanted to add on few things. See, if you guess my age, I'm 78, and I'm still having my own black hair, no diabetes, no heart problem, no knees problem, nothing. So that is an example that good food and proper food is a must for every human being to eat in the right form and right quantity. Now, very often people eat food, they come to know this food is good, that food is bad, but the quantity wise, they don't compromise on quantity. They take wrong quantity of things, whether it is protein, whether it is fat, whether it is carbohydrate. One has to take the balanced quantity, which is very, very essential. And unless and until you do that, any food cannot be of any use or for your good health. And another thing is that timings of food must be adhered to. Very often people don't adhere to proper timing. They take at any odd time, any type of food, and then junk food is becoming very, very popular. Not becoming, it's become a base in our country, and that is the main reason that many people are suffering, and especially the youngsters are suffering from the heart attacks. Also at the age of 30, people are dying just because of heart attack. So we had never heard of such type of diseases earlier. So it is the food which makes the difference, and no doctor can cure you or can do anything unless until you take care of yourself and your health yourself. So thanks a lot.
Question here.
You. Hello, I'm Dinesh. Just wanted to have an idea about the nutrition. Some people suggest you should go for a uncooked raw food, and some say it should be cooked. And cooking to what extent? It's simply boiling or frying and so many things. Can you enlighten on this? Thank you.
I say do a mix. The simplest, when you're confused about whether this or that, always choose the middle path. Okay? See, what we tend to do is we go one extreme or then we go another extreme. You don't have to do that. Either I'll eat carbs or I'll eat no carbs. Either I'll eat raw or I'll eat cooked. Why? Do a mix. There's no harm in it. So raw food has raw nutrition in terms of vitamins and minerals, which we lose while we cook, right? So do 1 or 2 servings of raw. So your fruits are always raw. Have 1 serving of a raw vegetable. And then too much raw is not good, because sometimes it is the germs, or sometimes it is how our food is grown, so which is why lightly steam it, yes. Okay? Yes. Overcooking is overkilling of nutrition, so don't overcook food, but cook food. So you have 2 bowls of cooked sabzi, you have 1 of raw, and you have 2 servings of fruit. You did a mix of raw as well as cooked.
What is happening these days? People even cook the fruits
wrong.
in some of the items.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Yeah. Wrong.
That's wrong. Fruits are always eaten raw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask a question.
Yes.
Right here. With age, you know, I mean, I'll just take my example. I have been pretty fit all through, but I'm realizing from 40s to 50s, it's just coming without asking. So what is it that you need to do with age and change your diet, or what is it
because
that
as
keeps
we
you
grow
fit?
older, our metabolic rate drops. Okay. It is very important to understand what is metabolic rate. So I'm going to quickly tell you guys, your metabolic rate is the rate at which your body is burning calories, right? Very simple. Your metabolic rate depends on your age, your height, your gender, and the amount of fat or muscle in your body. Your age, we can't do anything off. Your gender, we can't do anything off. Your height, we can't do anything off. But what we can do something about is the composition of fat is to muscle. The more the muscle, the more the metabolic rate. The more the fat, the lesser the metabolic rate. How to calculate your metabolic rate? It's very simple online calculators. It's also available on my website, which is called nourishgenie.com, which helps you calculate what is your metabolic rate and therefore how you should be eating for your age. Okay, that's Nourish Genie. But of course, you get metabolic rate calculators all everywhere. So you figure out, so why is it that you're gaining weight today in spite of the food that you ate yesterday? Is because now your metabolic rate has dropped because you moved into another decade of life. So accordingly, your food has to be tweaked because you're still eating as a 40 I'm sorry, I didn't hear what age you said you are, but you're eating.
I'm 20.
So you're eating for 20 when you're actually 30, so your metabolic rate is different. So you have to recalculate your metabolic rate according to your age today and then tweak the food accordingly so that you don't start gaining the weight. And also a little bit of fat loss and a little bit more of muscle building is what is going to help you.
Yeah, and if you stop eating at 7, but you wake up till 11, that's what people say, eat on time, then what do you eat during? Can you have a fruit till 11?
Yeah,
or
why
what?
not? A fruit, maybe a cup of milk, maybe some few crackers or a khakra, any of that.
Thank
Hi,
you.
I just want to ask.
I know we have lots of questions. You all can follow me on social media.
One
Yes,
last question, please. I want to know that what is the role of exercise in weight loss?
Extremely crucial. 50% of your weight loss will happen. I can't see you.
They say 20 and 80. They say that even if you do a lot of exercise, unless you zip up your mouth, you will not lose weight. And it's been, like with me, I do a lot of exercise, but, so what is the ratio?
Your diet is made more in your kitchen than it is in the gym, okay? But if you don't exercise, you're not going to be able to see the results. So the exercise is a very important factor, but food is your main. So the body is made in the kitchen. So I would say it's a 60-40 perhaps. Okay, so 60% of your diet, but 40% is your exercise. And if you don't exercise, you're not going to be able to get the body you want. So like I was saying, if you want to be in touch with me, you can follow me on social media, is @Pooja Makhija, or you can get in touch with me on my website, which is nourishgenie.com. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody has a lot of...
lot of talk about gluten-free.
The questions will not end, but yeah, last question. Gluten-free and then...
What do you say about gluten-free, being gluten-free and...
So the wheat our ancestors ate is not the wheat we are eating. Currently, the wheat has far larger percentage of gluten than it had 50 years ago, which is the reason why more and more of us are becoming intolerant to gluten and getting more digestion problems when it comes to gluten, more bloating, more gas, and indigestion. And like I said, your gut flora, I was talking about your gut flora, a lot of studies are showing that gluten is a food which is causing an inflammation in our gut and therefore changing the flora in our tummies. So gluten is a known triggerer or an inflammatory food. So my advice to most of you would be try to wean yourself off gluten as much as you can. For example, we are fortunate enough that we make fresh rotis every day. We don't buy breads we don't eat our rotis packaged from a supermarket. So we can switch our rotis to a non-gluten based atta. So we could do bajra, javari, nachni, amaranth. We have so many of them. And wheat is still going to be there perhaps through noodles or a little bit of pasta or your bread. So you're weaning yourself off the gluten, which is a great idea to do because more and more science is telling us that gluten is an inflammatory food which is troubling our gut. Our bodies were not made to handle so much gluten. This happened during the Green Revolution back in the 1960s and 70s where food had to be made to have greater shelf life. They changed the composition of the wheat so that the breads are softer and fluffier and they last longer on the shelves so that we can have donuts and muffins and cakes and pastries and breads. So they made the gluten to have genetically more composition, which today our bodies are not being able to digest. So when I tell most people wean off gluten, they're like, wo to hum saalon se kha rahe hain. Why? That's the reason why. Because the wheat we're eating today is not the wheat we ate 100 years ago. So wean yourself off is what I would say for gluten.
Great. Thank you so much. We've totally out of time,
Yakult
sir.
has
The
too
next
much
session
sugar. Don't
is
have
about to
Yakult.
start. People are waiting.
Thank you so much for your
so much
advice,
for your
ma'am.
time. Thanks a
It
lot,
was a
guys.
pleasure listening.